Hey, I'm Josh from Vacuums R Us in Colorado, and today I'm going to talk about a common issue that we see with the full-size Dyson Stick Vacs with the battery down here. We typically call it battery droop. So the symptom is the battery will move and it'll droop. It's very heavy, so if the battery starts to droop down, the machine just turns on its own, because the battery is pressed down and depressed the switch. This is not an issue with the power switch, which is another common issue, but this is an issue with, there's a retainer up here that the battery, that holds the battery in, and it has cracked. And so this back end of the battery is essentially not being supported. I'm going to show you how to fix that. This video presents you with some basic troubleshooting steps that you can take at home to get your appliance working again. And that said, there's always risk involved with appliance repair. You could hurt yourself, you could damage the appliance worse, you hurt those around you for that matter. Follow these steps at your own risk. We're not liable for any damages that might occur as a result of following the steps in this video. I also encourage you to watch the video in its entirety prior to starting to be sure that you can follow through with all of the required steps to complete the repair. So there's three screws that hold this in. There's two in the front, and then there's one right here in the back. And the one in the back is the problem. If you look at it, you can see the screw there, and you can see that if I pull on the battery a little, you can see there's flex there. And that's because the thing that the screw holds into is actually broken. So I'm going to pull out a Phillips head. I'm going to remove the battery first. And then I'm going to hold the battery in while I'm doing this so I don't break anything worse. And now the battery will remove. And so if we look deep inside here, far up in, directly down here, we'll see that there is a small Torx screw that is down there. And that small Torx screw holds in this assembly right here, this entire electronic assembly that the battery plugs into, and also ultimately, as a result, supports the battery itself. And that little screw, what it's screwed into in here in the housing, is broken. So we're going to pull that screw out. So this specifically is a T8. It's not a security bit. It's just a standard Torx bit. But if you do need, we will link below we sell a set of security bits that are all of the different size bits that you will encounter in both Dyson and Shark. And that will include a security T8, which will work for this. And we'll link that below if you need. So it appears that the way this is broken off, the tab behind it, oh, I got it, was spinning free, but the tab, the part that broke off, was actually holding it in still. Maybe I don't have it. I've seen this happen a few times where you'll get it fully unscrewed, but it doesn't come out. And it's because the broken retainer part is behind, and it's holding it in, and it will not unscrew. So generally, you just have to apply pressure and keep unscrewing until it unscrews itself. There, got it out finally. That is not unusual that those are hard to get out. So what we're going to do is we are going to use a very specific size screw, and I will link these below. We had to special order these screws from a fastener company for this exact purpose, because they have to be long, they need to be pointed because we're going to self-tap it, and we need to have a Phillips on the top. If you do order these screws, make sure that your Phillips head bit that you use fits very secure, because you are going to be self-tapping this into the housing through pressure alone. And so you need your bit to fit very securely. I am going to put the screw in with these pinchers first. All right. So this is the dicey part. So if you screw this up, you're buying a new vacuum. You need to apply pressure firmly, because you are now self-tapping directly into the body of the machine. The screw is pointed and sharp, so it will allow for self-tapping, but you don't want to strip the body out entirely, or this isn't going to work. We are making some progress. You apply firm pressure the entire time Otherwise, you'll strip it out. Check every once in a while to see how close you are. We're very close to bottoming out. Yep, I'm in there. Okay, so now there's no more play on that. And we can put this in. We'll put the screws back in. So now you see that gap is no longer there because the battery is fully supported by that screw that went past where it was supposed to go directly into the housing. Now, Dyson's answer to this issue, their solution is to replace the entire upper bodies. It will replace the motor, the main circuit board, and the handle assembly. That's their answer. There are a bunch of sellers overseas that are selling just the body, but they are actually selling used bodies. What they're doing is they're stripping out defective machines that were sent to Asia for quote unquote recycling, and then they're reselling these bodies. The problem with that is that we've purchased them before, and most of them have that broken screw mount. That's why the machines were scrapped to begin with. So they end up shipping you a housing with the exact same defect. And frankly, the work of pulling the PCB and the motor and all of that out of this is a ton of work anyway. This simple solution, this little screw in here, this solves it. Now there's risk. You can certainly damage the housing and make the problem worse than it already is, at which point you're back to Dyson's solution, which is replacing the entire thing anyway. But it's certainly worth a shot to simply do that repair as to replace the entire machine.